agenda. The secret of my success is determined by my daily agenda. In other words, what I do every day is either making me better or making me worse. It's either helping or it's hurting. The secret of my success is what I do every day. It's not a mystery. People so many times think success is intangible, and how will I know when I get it, and what is it? It's very simple. Let me explain it to you. By the way, I'm a communicator, not an educator. I have an education. I have 3 degrees, graduate degrees, so I have an education. But I'm not an educator. I'm a communicator. An educator takes something simple and makes it complicated. They can't help themselves. I speak at the great universities across America. I speak at leadership at West Point, the great academy in America. I speak at Notre Dame University, George Washington University. I speak at the universities, and I speak to educators all the time. But I'm not an educator. I have an education, but I'm not an educator, because educators take something simple and make it complicated. If you're not confused, they're not happy. I'm a communicator. Communicators take things complicated and make it simple. My name's John. I'm your friend. I say, let's put the cookies on the lower shelf so everybody can have them. And success is not complicated. You can truly be successful. In fact, if I didn't believe that, I wouldn't even come here. I didn't come here for a plane ride. Although I flew to KL quicker from the States than I did from coming to the airport to get here. And I'm saying to you, the secret of your success is determined by your daily agenda. What you do every day. Let me explain it this way, okay? Here, it's just us. Let's talk, okay? Let's just talk. You see, if I went home with you, tomorrow, if I went home with you and I just hung around with you, I just spent the day with you, I don't have to say anything. In fact, I'll just be quiet. If I could just be with you from, 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock tomorrow night, 10 hours. If you and I went to dinner at a restaurant about 6:30, 7 o'clock tomorrow night, and you leaned across the restaurant table and asked me, John, do you think I have potential of being successful? If I just spent one day with you with about 85% accuracy, I could tell you what your odds of success are. Now, it's not because I'm brilliant. It's because the secret of your success is determined in your daily agenda. In other words, all I have to do is spend one day with you and watch you. And watching you will tell me everything I need to know about whether you're doing the right things or the wrong things. For example, if I spend a day with you tomorrow, I can tell by the end of the day if you have a good attitude. If you have a good attitude about yourself, if you have a good attitude about others, if you have a good attitude about your work, if you have a good attitude about what you think your mission in life is, if you have a good attitude about your family, I can in a day, in fact, it doesn't take me 10 hours to find out if you have a good attitude. I can usually discover that in 15 minutes. Because an attitude is an outward expression of an inward feeling. You can see an attitude without anybody even saying anything. You could haven't you just watched some people and said, oh my goodness, oh. Have you ever been on an elevator? Somebody got an elevator and you just looked at them and you go, whoa, it's going to rain. Huh? And you kind of get over in the corner and you just look at them and say, well, I'm glad I'm not going home with them. Today, later on, I'll talk to you about your attitude. I call it the difference maker. All things being equal, your attitude will make the difference. And if I spend a day with you, I'm going to find out what kind of an attitude you have. If I spend the day with you, I'm going to find out how well you prioritize your life. I'm going to find out if you get up and wait for life to happen to you, or if you get up and you already have a plan. You've already got your priorities set up. You know how to get your highest return. You know when you do certain things, it's going to bring a higher return than others. I'm going to find out if you're directed and if you can prioritize your life. I'm going to find out in a matter of a day how well you do with relationships. And I'm going to find out in a matter of a day if you do the things that bring you high return by staying in your strength zone, or if you spend time in your weak zone. You see, the secret of your success and my success is determined our daily agenda. Hang on with me now, watch this one. We spend our day either preparing or repairing. We spend our day either preparing in such a way that tomorrow is going to get a lot better, or we spend our day repairing, trying to fix today what we did wrong yesterday. And many people spend most of their day not preparing, but repairing, trying to fix yesterday because they didn't do yesterday right. I would challenge you. I would challenge every one of you today. In fact, probably if I could deposit one thing into your life that would really help you to be a success, I would challenge you to every day have a plan for your growth. Every day, do something that's going to make you better. Every day, understand that success is not an accident. And if you're doing the right things, it's going to ensure that tomorrow will get better, just as if you're doing the wrong things, it's going to ensure that tomorrow will be worse. I would encourage every one of you to get a personal growth plan for their life. And I would encourage you in that personal growth plan to do three things. Read the right books. Spend time with the right people. And do the right things. If I read the right books, it gives me knowledge so that I can improve myself. I run into people all the time. They come up to me and they say, John, is it true that you write leadership books? I say, it's very true. And then they'll look at me and say, wow, if I ever become a leader, I'm going to read one of those books. And I always tell them, here's a thought, why don't you read one of those books and become a leader? See, if you read the right kind of books, it'll help you to know the right kind of things so that you can have the right kind of behavior. So it's the books you read. It's the people that you hang out with. It's the people that you spend time with. Every month I have what I call learning lunches, where I have a 2-hour lunch with somebody that's faster than me, bigger than me, smarter than me, had more experience than me. And I sit there and I don't even eat lunch. I buy their lunch and they eat the lunch. And I sit there with my legal pad and I ask them questions for the 2 hours to learn and to grow, because I know that I'm going to learn from them and I'm going to get better because of them. So I'm going to tell you, read the right books, hang around the right people, and learn to do the right thing. What's the right thing? The right thing is going to be based upon your values, and it's going to be based upon your strengths, what you do well. I will talk to you later today about staying in your strength zone, not in your weak zone. When you have right values and you know what your strength zone is, so you're in the area of your strength, not in the area of your weakness, that's when you get the highest return. Okay. How we doing? Before I go on, I got to ask you a question. Are you learning something? Huh? Talk to me. Are you learning something? Huh? Okay, no, that's all right. It's all right. It's too early to applaud yet. Okay. Roger took it all out of you when he introduced me. Now you're trying to recuperate and pull back and get your rest. So I understand that's no problem. But just a yes or no, I'm learning something. Look at your neighbor and tell him that. Say, I'm learning something. Go ahead and tell him that. Show him your notes. Show him your notes. Show him your notes. Huh? I'm learning something. Look right back at him and say, not enough yet. You're not there yet. You're not there yet. You're just starting to grow. We're learning together. Okay, success, I've said so far, is 2 things, haven't I, huh? What did I say success is? Number 1, knowing my purpose in life. Number 2, growing to my maximum potential. But there's one more thing. Thirdly, success is sowing seeds that benefit others. Success is living beyond yourself. Success is living for others. Success is trying not only to help yourself, but to make a difference in the lives of others. In fact, I think you cross the line from success to significance when you're doing something that adds value not only to yourself, but adds value to others. It's time for all of us to understand that we are to be a river in life, not a reservoir. And I think success means that I not only grow and I not only learn and I not only do well, but I think success is where I really truly am my brother's keeper, and I try to help them do well, and I try to help them learn, and I help them grow, and I bring people with me. I grow people. In the States, there's an expression. I'll be interested to find out if it's in Malaysia. The expression is always used in light of a leader saying it, but it's not a leadership expression. But people think it is. In the States, we have this expression that leaders will often say, "It's lonely at the top." Do you have that here? Come on, talk to me. How many of you have ever heard that expression? Huh? Oh, okay. How many of you ever said that expression? No, yeah, no. Okay. And in the States, what happens, it's usually a leader who's all alone and they're very lonely, and it's kind of like they're up on this big mountain and all their people are way down there, in the valley, and they kind of have their arms crossed, and then kind of in a sanctimonious way, they say, "Well, it's lonely at the top. Oh, it's lonely up here. It's lonely at the top. If you're at the top, you're a lonely person." Let me tell you something. A leader never said that. Think about it. If you're at the top all alone, nobody's following you. Here's the thought. If you're at the top all alone, get off the top. Go down to where the people are and find the people. Because what leaders do is leaders take people to the top with them. You define a leader by the fact that a leader has people around them. Leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. In my book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, the third law of leadership is that leadership is influence. Nothing more, nothing less. My favorite leadership proverb is, "He that thinketh he leadeth, and hath no one following him, is only taking a walk." And I know all kind of people taking walks, don't you, huh? They're in leadership positions, but they're taking walks. You see, leaders never run and never win the fast races. They're not the first to cross the line, because the first one to cross the line comes alone. It's always slower for a leader, because a leader is gathering people with them. They're saying, "Come to the top with me." If they wanted to get to the top by themselves, they could get to the top because they're usually smart, they're usually quick. They can get to the top real quick, but they don't get to the top first because they're bringing people with them so that when they get to the top, they've got some other people there. In my book, Winning with People, one of the 25 people principles is the patience principle. You know what the patience principle says? The patience principle says, when traveling alone, you can rise early. But when traveling with others, you must wait on them. Leaders understand that. Leaders give up a little bit of their personal speed to slow down long enough to take people with them, because they are defined not by the height that they have climbed alone. They are defined by the height that they have climbed with others. Leaders lift. Leaders make things better for others. Leaders take others to a higher ground that they would have never gotten on themselves. And so therefore, when defining success, It is true that successful people know their purpose in life. It is true that successful people grow to their maximum potential. But it's also true successful people sow seeds that benefit others. I have discovered that successful people do 4 things with excellence. And we'll spend almost the rest of this day on those 4 things. Because as I have been with them, if I have had experiences with them, as I have studied them, as I've studied the subject of success, I have discovered that successful people, they have different gifts, they have different skills, they have different opportunities, they're in different locations, they have different professions. There's a lot of things different about successful people, but successful people have 4 things in common. Just 4 things, whether it's Malaysia or the United States. I travel internationally 3 to 4 times every year and speak usually in 20 different countries. And I found that these 4 things, they are 4 things that successful people do everywhere. The first thing that successful people do very well is in the area of relationships. Successful people get along with people. They just do. Successful people get along with people. Now, let me let's get this thing straight here for a moment, because I can see some of you are starting to get alarmed because you're thinking successful people get along with people, and all of you right now are thinking of someone you don't get along with. So you're writing this down and you're saying, okay, John says successful people get along with people, and you're thinking, well, I do. Oh my. So let's just get it out in the air, okay? My name's John. I'm your friend. Okay? Let's just talk about it for a moment. Because I know I can raise my hand on this, and I'll bet most of you can raise your hand on. How many of you know at least one person that's just hard to get along with? Let's see those hands, huh? Thank you very much. Yeah. Boy, you got you got their picture in your mind right now, don't you? Oh, yeah. Oh. Now, let me ask you another question. See, we're becoming friends. Can you tell? We're talking. We're becoming friends. Let me ask you another question. How many of you are seated beside that person right now? Oh, I almost caught you, didn't I, huh? I almost caught you. You see, if you raised your hand on the first question, that's a relationship answer. But boy, if you raised your hand on the second question, that's an IQ issue. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. Okay. So we won't say who that person is, but we all know somebody. Isn't that true? They're just hard to get along with. Let me ask you something else. Have you ever done this? Have you ever been like in a grocery store, and you're pushing the cart down the aisle, and you look over a couple of aisles, and you see someone you don't want to see? And the good news is you saw them, but they didn't see you. Huh? Have you ever done this? Have you ever hid from somebody at least one time in your life? Come on, talk to me. Yeah. Sure we have. The foundation of leadership is relationships. People won't go along with you if they can't get along with you. They're not going to go along with you if they can't get along with you. You're not going to... If somebody at work says, hey, I'll tell you what, let's take a weekend trip together, and you don't like them, you're not going to say, oh, happy day. No. See, I'm not going to go along with somebody I can't get along with. So here's what I want you to know. People that are successful in life, by and large, get along with people. I'm not saying that you're going to get along with everybody. There's a few people that are almost impossible to get along with. I wrote a book called Winning with People. It has 25 people principles in it. Okay? It's a book that helps you to understand people. The reason many people don't get along with people is because they don't understand them. So I wrote a book, and it's basically a book to help you to understand people. And I give 25 people principles in it. And one of the principles is what I call the Bob principle. The Bob principle says if Bob has a problem with everyone, Bob's the problem. Isn't that true? Aren't there some people that just can't get along with anyone? Now, they may not be Bob. They may be Bobetta. And I wrote a book to help people understand how to handle Bob and how to understand people. In fact, in Fortune magazine in the States, when I wrote the book, whenever I write books, I write 3 books a year, and I write 3 books at a time. And whenever I'm writing a book, I'm always asking myself the question, will there be a market for this? Are there people who really want to learn this subject that I'm teaching? And out of Fortune magazine, right when I was getting ready to have Winning with People, the relationship book, released, they put in Fortune magazine real resumes, people that were asking for jobs or writing for jobs, and they put real resumes in them. And when I read them, I thought, oh my goodness, I can't even imagine people being this bad. And these people were asking for jobs. Here's one. This is a real resume. This isn't a joke. Here's what a person really put on their resume when they were looking for a job. It's best for employers that I not work with people. I mean, what do they want to be, a toll booth operator? Here's another one. Note, please don't misconstrue my 14 jobs. I like your laugh. It may take you with me to the next town. Please don't misconstrue my 14 jobs as job hopping. I have never quit a job. Now, there's somebody to hire, huh? There's somebody to hire. Oh, you've never quit a job? Oh, yeah, come on board, come on board. Here's another one. Boy, you're a good crowd, aren't you, huh? I think it was Roger's introduction, don't you? Huh? I mean, Roger just kind of got you all. You're just a good crowd. You're the smartest group I've talked to today. Okay. Look at your neighbor. Just say, John's going to have to come back to Malaysia because we're the best crowd. Go ahead and tell him that. Yeah, we're the best crowd. Here we go. Here's another one. Here, I love this one. These are people wanting jobs. Here's another. The last company made me a scapegoat, just like all of my previous employers. One more. I mean, I got a whole bunch of them up here. I mean, but we haven't got. Here's another one. References. None. I've left a path of destruction behind me. Now, when I read those resumes, I thought, there is a real market for my book, Winning with People. So what I'd like to do in the few minutes that I've got here, I'd like to probably between now and the time we break, we'll break about 11 o'clock if that's all right. That's 33 minutes, okay? Are you okay? You're still all right, aren't you, huh? Still learning something, are you? Huh? Okay, then I'll hang on and teach a little bit longer. Let me give you, I don't know, 3 or 4 people principles that are major in your life. Here's one. This is the hammer principle. The hammer principle. The hammer principle says, never use a hammer to swat a fly off of someone's forehead. Can you understand me? Huh? Never use a hammer to swat a fly off of someone's forehead. This is a relationship principle about overreacting. This is a principle that teaches us relationally that when somebody does something wrong to us or something doesn't settle well with us, that we have to be careful not to overreact. Because here's what happens. If you and I in relationships overreact to some kind of a difficulty in exchange with someone else, we will escalate the problem. Haven't you seen people who overreacted and now the problem isn't even as big as the overreaction to that problem? Oh my goodness.